Alright, hello everyone, it's me, William. So I'm just continuing with my tutorial of the Wise Man. I decided to split the solo into a separate category. One thing I neglected to mention was actually my tone here. So what I'm doing, I don't know if you can tell, I have it on the middle pickup. That gives it a little bit of a, more bassy sort of, less of a bite. Whereas if I go the normal bridge pickup, it's more trebly. But I don't want it so bassy that it's the rhythm neck pickup, which would be. I do it the middle pickup. I felt it fit the song. Other thing I did, so I have a Black Star amp. There's this fun thing you can do with Black Stars where you actually change the amp style between like a British amp, like a Marshall, or American, like a Fender amp. So I basically turned it mostly American because it's blues. Also, not that much overdrive. The overdrive channel is on, but it's at maybe a 3 out of 10. So it's really it's overdriven, but it's not too overdriven. That's kind of the point of having a big amp. You can get a louder clean tone. It doesn't break up. So it's my impulse usually with my songwriting is turn the overdrive gain up. This song not that much overdrive. It's kind of a clean tone almost, because that sort of fits the blues vibe I was going for. So yeah, with that preamble out of the way, getting into the solo. Not to disappoint you, but I don't know exactly what I played. I improvised the thing. Now I improvised it with some ideas that you can follow and probably do a better solo than I did. But big one is, I think more important than the notes is the chords on the bottom, because the way to really play a solo isn't to just sort of noodle. That's not as good, because that's just you in space. That's just you playing notes into space and nothing. It's not worth it, everyone. The better way to do a solo is know what your rhythm is and play on top of that. Hear what the rhythm sounds like and say, this fits that note. And I guess some of that is just sort of experience, vibes, a little bit of theory, but I think it's better than just thinking, oh, let me play a solo into thin air. So with that, I'm going to show you the rhythm, what I did. So it's just basically a variation on the verse riff, if you saw the previous video. So it's a lot of it's an aggressive rhythm, so I go. But I also, what I do, just to add a little tonal fun to it. Remember, this is a dominant third, so it has, it has a major third. It's a 7th, this dominant 7th note and a major third. What I do to make it sound interesting, dissonant, I'm sure there's music theory behind this, but I make it minor at parts. So I basically take this finger off the G string for a little bit. So I go. See how it's coming up? So I lift it in the middle of it to add a little tonal sort of spice to it. So I start with, and just for the sake of speed and fluidity, remember how I told you during the verse, I don't do that. The recording, I actually do the easy thing, and I go up to the E here. So that's, so that would be starting on the A string, 7, 9, 7, 7. 7th chord with the major third. But what I do, and this can be a little tricky if you're not used to it. So after I go, I put my middle finger on the 8th fret behind this. The reason why is so I can add in that minor third there. So I just take my pinky off to add a little minor third flare into that major. So then the whole thing and it's tricky. It's tricky to do that transition from. But you have a little moment when you're going. You can think, gotta put my finger behind it so I can pull off. Because what you don't want in this song, you don't want a 9th. Like it sounds really cool. I've done that in like Cat in the Window. This is not Cat in the Window. If you want to hear Cat in the Window, let me know in the comments how I play that. That's like all 9ths. But now, we don't want that 9th. We want that. So basically this just continues throughout the whole solo. Until, here's where it gets fun. Remember how, like, the intro riff we went... We did that slide on? We apply it to these chords now. And also, this goes back to what I said about the diminished 5th in there. For a moment, we start on basically this F. But we quickly slide up to F sharp, and you just play with that same like that alternating rhythm. So you go, and you do it twice, and then you do the same thing with the E, the 4 of the 1-4-5 chord. So this is the 5, this is the 4. And I just love how that sounds so much. It just adds such a punch to it. Because it's dissonant, but it's dry. It sounds... I love it. Might be my favorite rhythm I've ever had, a song I've ever written. Like, I really love that rhythm. And then you just go back to... And then... So, the full thing is... And you just repeat that a couple of times. Now, for the part you've probably been waiting for, the actual notes. Basically, there's some theory behind it. I tend to like to start solos with a 7-octave 3-4 sort of thing, and then bending up. So that's how it starts. And then one fun thing I do is when you learn the pentatonic scale, I'm sure you remember how it's like 3 notes away, and then it's 2 when you go up. And these 2, you gotta do 3 for the B and E strings. What if you just, instead of you just kind of went lazy, you just, like you didn't use your picky, you just, that's what I do. And it turns out, this actually sounds really cool, because I didn't do it inadvertently. I did think about it a little bit, but you're going into the B major when you do that. You're making it major by literally just moving this down a note. It's really cool. And it's basically, I do that same rhythm of like where I'm hammering on, pulling off, like basically Tony Iommi the way he does a solo. So I don't really know what it is, but it's basically. And then I just bend, and that makes it minor again. This is all B major, and then I just bend into the minor. It's cool. And you can do some major licks until you go back into the minor, like oh, let me be major, and then you can do that 7. And then what I like to do is on the root of it, I kind of stay around here. And then once you're going into the 4 chord of the 1-4-5, you can start bending you bend the 3rd into the 4th. And then you just sort of climb up here. And this is these 4 notes are a big part of the solo, just the same as down here. That A, B, and then it's up here. And then when you bend on the 12th string, that's the 5th. So you're just bending into the 5th, which is, very, it's not dissonant. It's a good sound. One thing you can do that I've done with solos is that this 3rd, you give it a lot of flavor and vibrato there, so you can almost kind of get to a point where it's approaching a major, but don't quite go to a major. If anything, it's probably a microtone. Where you just bend it halfway to the 3rd. And that's what's fun. Blues is actually somewhat microtonal. And then the next kind of thing I do in the solo, and I'll be honest, I learned this from Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page, issues as a person. We know that. Guitarist, a lot of plagiarism, but he does some cool things. Please don't get mad at me for what I said. Just look it up. Both those things are true. But so if this is the 5th, this is the B, this is the 5th. You can bend into that major 6th. It's here, but you're just doing it up. So remember I said this is the most important note of the song? It really is. This is the flavor of the song. So what I like to do is just that classic, whole lot of Jimmy Page lick. You just walk it down with, again, that diminished 5th. And then one of my favorite licks that I just, improvise, and I'm sure everyone in the blues has done, because it's, a lot of this is, I didn't intentionally say I'm going to steal a song, but it's the blues. There's conventions that a lot of people just sort of follow. So it's all cryptomnesia, this whole song. So there's this lick. It's just the classic blues of the root, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and then you go back. Now, if you want to spice it up, you can add the non-blues notes, like. You could do that, you could not. It's up to you. If you're an experienced guitarist, you know how to do this better than I do. And then you could, generally, I would meander into the major as I'm coming back to the root. And here's some important music theory things. It sounds good when you're soloing. So after we go, once we go back to here, somehow find your way back to that beat, to that root. Like for example, like if you can get here at the same time this gets here, your solo sounds good. Because it's like, I've resolved it. It's back to where we want on the beat. With a big old boomer bend right here. Yeah, I'm 29. I love me some bends. Bends sound good. I hate that that's an insult. It's ageist too. Like, bends are really good. Unison bends, even better. Love me some bends. Second part is, as you remember, it's like, and then it's back to the fifth. If you can get down to the fifth, sounds extra good. Sorry if there's ambient noise. I live by a train line. I like trains too. Sorry. So once you've gone, I prefer it on this note, 9th fret, this F sharp. I just think it's like, you know, once you're up here, you can also do it here. I just did that inadvertently. But I especially like it down here. And then it's back to, I thrive on heated arguments, the best on Dr. Facts. And if I cross the touchy line, I'll never take it back, because I'm the wise man. I know my way around. And if you question my word, I'll beat your theory down. Back to that. And then, second solo, it's just the main riff. I'm soloing over the main riff because I like the main riff. So, by the way, this song, really, really try to get it in tune, because, oh boy, if this is not in tune, and I can already feel myself having this go out of tune. I can just feel it. Probably because of my pitch. Okay, so the B is good. The G, you see the G, because I was bending it. It's a little flat. There we go. So, those with very astute ears, you might hear that it sounds better than it did a moment ago. This song is like a nightmare for tuning irregularities if you have sensitive pitch like I do. You go out of tune playing this because remember I said all those nice things about the bends. Well, bends put you out of tune. They sound great, put you out of tune. And like G string's always the culprit. Guitarists know that G string will be out of tune always. You really gotta try to keep this one in tune, because if that sounds off, it sounds real off. Like, half the time I pick up this guitar, it's going a little out of tune. I want to play the Wise Man. And I'm like, oh, Wise Man sounds terrible today. What's going on? Am I just bad at this? And then I realized, no, G string's out of tune. So that aside, the second solo with the main riff under it, it starts with very pedestrian. You just basically just do a slow lick with that. Honestly, the rhythm is more important there, because it's just very, you just play to the swing of the cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, that blues shuffle. And then, again, on the 4, And the 5, you just do. By the way, fun little lick here. This is the root, this is the octave, and then 7th and then 5. You can go all day just that's a fun little lick. And then you can bend to make it like inadvertently major. And you can go. You can do that octave. These are good musical ideas. Once you do that, there actually is a part I wrote. I thought it was clever. Maybe I'm just full of myself. But I did the vocal on the second bar of the solo. I did the vocal melody on the guitar. I thought that was cool. It's like a little blues thing, like, it's a nod to the vocal. So, as you recall, my vocal melody, I'm good at burning bridges, I'm good at burning bridges. It's sort of like dancing between the minor and the major. I'm good at burning bridges, and I'm good at leaving town. And, back to the root. I thrive on logic, the 5th fallacies, they never bring me down. So that root, third root of the B. I approximated that. I think my singing's a little, it's a little all over the place. It's not quite that. But basically the way you do that, you slide. So it's 5th. So that's a 9th fret, A and D strings. And then here's the I'm good at burning bridges, and so that's 7th fret G string to get that minor 3rd that's then the 8th fret to major. And then fallacies, go up to the 5th. So that's 7th fret B string. And then you just basically dance between these two. 7 and 9 on a G and a D string. The 3rd root, because I'm a wise man. And then I embellish it more than my actual vocal melody. I bend, again, here are the bends, the G string, which is going to go out of tune again, I know it. You bend up the 7 so it meets this. And then I do a classic sort of bluesy, like an Iommi type of thing. But I like sort of even it out. Instead of no, my way around, I go, no, my way around. But on the guitar. And then here's classic Tony Iommi type of blues thing, where you just, that same bend, you dismutes this, but it slides into it, so it's climbing to the note, so you get those microtones, you get that just tonal shift. It sounds, I like it. Classic blues. And then you do this and bend up here. 10th fret, 7th fret, high E, B. And then we go back to our old friend. Question my way up. And you just do the vocal melody. Beat your theory down. And then I had a little bit of pizzazz, doing the classic blues, that classic but I don't quite. And then there I go. And then I finish it. And also, you would have heard this the second chorus. I finish it with triads. So dust my broom. That same idea. It's just 877. Not Cars for Kids. 877 on the G, D, and E. So I just sort of slide in. Again, on the 6th fret. That's the motif in the song. And then the 4th. I added this for but then you go. And then 14th fret, that F sharp. And then basically you just do that blues walk down from the 7 to the 5 chromatically. And then another little blues embellishment. You start with the major, like place it. Yeah, so that's basically how to play the solos of the Wise Man. I think I'm also going to show you the bass, because the bass is important to the Wise Man. There's like some hopefully it's a shorter video than this, because there's less to really explain with the bass, but we'll do the bass next. Hope you enjoyed this one, everyone.